You have built the product. You have the domain name, the GitHub repo, maybe even a few users. And somehow, it feels like the hard part is only just beginning. You were not wrong. I have been building software for over a decade. I have been a CTO, a co-founder, a one-man engineering department, and every uncomfortable thing in between. And the one thing I can tell you with complete confidence is that nothing prepares you for your first startup. Not the books, not the podcasts, not the YC advice threads on Hacker News. People love to talk about the wins, the funding rounds, the growth metrics, the pivot that saved the company. What they skip over is the 18 months before any of that. The part where you are making decisions you have no business making, with money you cannot afford to lose, under pressure that does not show up in any founder interview. So, that is what this video is. 5 things nobody actually tells you before you start, not to scare you off, but because you deserve to walk in with your eyes open. Let us get into it. Let's start with the one that hits developers the hardest. Your technical skills will not save you. You spent years getting good, really good. You can architect a distributed system in your sleep. You know when to use Postgres and when to reach for Redis. You have opinions about API design that you will defend to the death. And all of that matters, right up until the moment it does not. Because the thing that kills most early startups is not bad code. It is bad prioritization. It is building the wrong thing for 6 months because nobody in the room knew how to talk to customers. It is spending 3 weeks perfecting a feature that 0 users asked for because it was technically interesting. I have done this. I have watched a beautifully engineered background job processing system go live for an audience of 12 people who mostly wanted a better export to CSV button. When you are a developer founder, your instinct is to build. Something feels uncertain? Ship something. Something feels broken? Fix it in the code base. But most of your early problems are not engineering problems. They are people problems, sales problems, positioning problems, problems that no amount of TypeScript will solve. The founders who survive are not always the best engineers. They are the ones who figure out fastest that their job has fundamentally changed. The sooner you accept that, the better your chances. Here's another one that people dance around but never quite say out loud. Your co-founder relationship will be tested in ways you cannot anticipate. Picking a co-founder is one of the most consequential decisions you will make, and most people pick someone they like, someone they have worked with before, someone who seems to balance their skills. That is a decent start. It is not enough, because you can work well with someone on a project. That is not the same as surviving 18 months of no revenue, conflicting visions, and the particular hell of a board meeting where everything is your fault. Shared stress reveals things about people that shared success never does. I have seen co-founder splits destroy companies that had genuinely good products. One person wants to raise a Series A. The other wants to stay bootstrapped. One person is burning out quietly, still showing up to the stand-up every morning, saying everything is fine. The other thinks they are just not committed enough. These are not small disagreements. These are value-level conflicts that no vesting schedule can paper over. Have the hard conversations early. How do you each define success? What happens if one of you wants out in year 2? What does the equity split actually reflect about your respective contributions going forward, not just at signing? Boring conversations, critical conversations. Have them before you are in the middle of a crisis and have to have them anyway under the worst possible conditions. Number 3, and this one is more psychological than people admit. Running out of money feels different to how you imagined. Before you start, you think about the runway in spreadsheet terms. You have got 12 months at this burn rate, 6 months if growth stalls. You run the scenarios in Notion, color-coded, maybe with a little chart. You feel prepared. You are not prepared, because what the spreadsheet does not capture is what month 8 actually feels like when the growth is not there. When your bank balance is a number, you check compulsively at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. When you are deciding whether to pay yourself this month or keep the Figma and linear subscriptions live. When you are in a sales call, smiling, performing complete confidence, knowing that if this deal does not close, you have a serious problem by the end of the quarter. Most developer founders have never had to think about money this way. You had a salary. It arrived. This is not that. The practical advice is obvious. Keep your burn low. Know your runway at all times. Raise before you desperately need to. But what nobody says is that financial stress at this level changes how you make decisions. It makes you short-term. It makes you take bad deals because a bad deal feels better than no deal. Understanding that pattern in advance means you can at least catch yourself doing it before you sign something you will regret. This next one took me an embarrassingly long time to internalize. The product is never the problem you think it is. Users are not converting. Your instinct is to improve the onboarding flow. So you spend 2 weeks redesigning it in Figma, getting the empty states just right, tightening up the copy. Conversions stay flat. So you A/B test the landing page. Still flat. You rebuild the pricing page. You add a free tier. You add a Slack integration because someone on Twitter said Slack integrations drive retention. You add a mobile app because 2 users mentioned it once, and none of it moves the needle. Because the actual problem is that you are talking to the wrong users, solving a pain point that is not painful enough to pay for, or positioning the product in a way that does not land in the market you are actually in. None of those problems live in your code base. None of them will be fixed by a better color palette. The best thing I ever did early on was force myself to do customer calls before writing a single line of new feature code. Not surveys, not typeform links, calls, where you shut up and listen, where someone tells you in their own words what actually frustrates them. That vocabulary alone is worth more than a month of engineering work. It tells you what to build, what to say, and sometimes what to stop doing entirely. Build less, talk more. It goes against every instinct you have as a developer. Do it anyway. And finally, the last one. And honestly, the one that breaks the most people. Success takes twice as long as your most pessimistic estimate. Not your optimistic estimate, your pessimistic one. The number you already padded because you knew you were being too optimistic. Double that. That is closer to reality. I have never met a founder whose original timeline held. Not one. Markets move slowly. Enterprise sales cycles are genuinely long, and no amount of LinkedIn outreach speeds them up. That integration with Stripe that should take a week takes 3 because the docs lied to you. The senior engineer you thought would start in February starts in May. The investor who said they were excited goes quiet for 6 weeks. Every single dependency takes longer than projected, and the delays stack on top of each other in ways your Gantt chart did not model. The dangerous part is not the delays themselves. It is the expectation gap they create. When you planned for 12 months and you are still grinding at month 20 with no clear finish line, something shifts inside you. You start questioning whether the idea was ever good, whether you are actually cut out for this, whether everyone else can see something you cannot. Some companies should fold, but a lot of companies that could have worked fold at month 18 because the founder ran out of patience before they ran out of runway. The thing that was going to work needed 3 more months that never came because someone made a decision in exhaustion rather than clarity. Extend your timeline. Protect your energy. This is not a sprint. It is not even a marathon. It is more like one of those multi-day trail races where nobody is watching and you have to decide, alone, to keep going. So, 5 things. Your technical skills have a ceiling that shows up fast when you are running a company. Your co-founder relationship needs more intentional maintenance than your code base ever will. Financial stress will quietly reshape how you make decisions before you even notice it happening. The product is usually not the real problem. The market understanding is. And everything, without exception, takes longer than you planned for. None of this means do not do it. Building a company from scratch is one of the most demanding and genuinely interesting things you can do with your career. The problems are hard in a different way to engineering problems. They are messier, more human. But the founders who make it are not the ones who avoided these realities. They are the ones who saw them clearly and kept going anyway. That is the whole thing, really. If this hit home, subscribe. New video every week. And if you are in the middle of this right now, drop a comment. I actually read them.